You know what is there? These things are there, baby. Bam!
For real, man. Man, have you been let's just get it started, man. I just wanted to, I just want to just jump in naturally. Have you been watching the back and forth between Colby Covington and Jorge Masvidal this week?
Man, I haven't kept up with it too much. I watched the countdown last night, so that was pretty sweet. But I haven't seen too much of the back and forth. What's been going on?
They're just, they're just going back and forth, man. That Stephen A. interview that they did side by side. I think it's entertaining, man. I think it's good for the sport. Like some people don't like it, but to each his own. It does kind of get you hyped up, and they do have that history, man. That history is so important for a fight. That real animosity that they have, man.
Yeah, man, that's what sells a fight, right? Each one has a story, and being able to tell that is, paramount to getting the numbers up. But yeah, dude, I don't know. Kobe's thing, I wouldn't say it's necessarily my kind of go-to thing, but what fight was it? I think it was one of the Usman fight. I can't remember if it was the first or second one, but I kind of like saw in the way that he did the countdown and shit. I was like, okay, I see what you're doing. It's actually kind of funny at this point in some ways. Like sometimes, I don't know. Who knows?
It is funny. Some of the stuff is funny, and I don't think he intends to be funny, but it just comes out that way. And it does get people riled up. He's dancing on the line on some of the things that he says, but the UFC doesn't punish people for that, really. Especially if you're putting up numbers like Colby. Colby's numbers are very high, man. People, I think they would be shocked at like when he does an interview compared to like other guys. It's up there, man. He's getting hundreds of thousands of views on interviews, so they know what they're doing.
Oh, absolutely. And I think he's gotten better at towing that line, like as he's kind of, developed into this Hulk Hogan kind of character, I guess, if you will. But I don't know if I put him quite up there with that. But no, man, he's finding his little thing. And like I said, it's not my style, but I guess if you want to do that, go for it, bro.
Yeah, he's doing his best, man, and we don't have that in the UFC or in MMA except for him. So take it and run with it, man. Do what you can because your fame and your prime in a sport like this, it doesn't last very long. And I'm happy that he's capitalizing it, monetizing with it, and then we will see him in the walking away in the sunset in a few years, man.
True,
That's
but also, man, it's not without like a cost, right? Like
hmm
at some point, the character that you build up starts to seep into your own personality, and we start seeing, I wasn't a fly on the wall in ATT and stuff like that, but from the, I'm just a bird's eye perspective looking at through the media and stuff. Like it's obvious, what George is saying and what some of the other people over there have said. Like, like you said, he crosses that line sometimes, and I don't know. There's some relation. Obviously, you're in this game for you're in it for the money, right? Some people are in it for that. You're in it for the legacy. You're in it to, climb to the top. But man, if you burn every bridge along the way and you look around and you get to the top with nobody around you and everybody just hating your guts, even, fans and all that, that's one thing. But having people around you that helped you come up hating your guts, it's like, bro, like, all right, I guess, but
that's like you said. There's a price for everything, and that's the price he's paying, and he's comfortable with that, I guess. So I
rock
just
with it,
say go
dude.
with it, man. If you're comfortable with it, because I'm not there, it doesn't affect me. I'm just watching as pure entertainment. But yeah, it's. Have you had any interactions with Colby or Jorge?
No, no, neither. I'd love to meet George though, dude. I freaking love the way he does things,
Yeah,
absolute gangster with it anytime, anywhere, and backs up what he says.
yeah. I don't think I've met a fighter that does not like Jorge Masvidal. I feel like he's a fighter's fighter.
Yeah.
Like he's not just a fan favorite. He's like a fighter's fighter, and I see that too. I love George too, man. George is a great character, and yeah, a little bit more of who he actually is comes out on camera compared to Colby on the other side. But anyways, you're hopping in, you're jumping back in, man, into competition. March 12th is going to be your UFC debut. Matt Semelsberger, he's 3-1 in the UFC. Thoughts on him and his career so far?
He's good, man. He's like you said, 3-1. I think two finishes, if I remember correctly, and decision loss to Chaos Williams. That was a great fight, back and forth. He's good, man. He's got a good skill set, and he knows how to use what he has. That being said, just like Leonardo, just like the last guy, I just think I'm more diverse. Matt's great, and like I said, he's great at what he does, and he has a good skill set, and he uses it well. But I just don't think he has as many ways to win as me. I don't think as the fight goes on, I don't see him getting stronger than me in that kind of realm. I think I'm able to pick him apart more and more as it goes on, as I get more time in there with him. Maybe it's a short one, who knows? But yeah, man, Matt's good, but I'm good too.
Now, when you break it down stylistically, you know what I mean, like skill set for skill set, how do you see the matchup? Like with the striking, with the grappling, the submissions, and all that.
Well, to be honest, like if you get to the UFC, you've got to be well-rounded at least in most parts of your game. I think he's untested in certain parts of it. And I think even stand-up wise, man, I don't think he's been in there with anybody like me. He's been in there with a lot of brawlers. He hasn't been in there with technicians. He hasn't been in there with people that, can diagnose what you're doing, can see your patterns, can set their own patterns and then break them. He hasn't been in there with somebody who can mix it up and go to grappling or go to wrestling or put you in the cage and then mix in elbows and then break free and start throwing spinning shit or flying stuff. Like, there's not a lot of people like me in this division, and I really don't think Matt's seen anybody close to what I bring in the cage.
You mentioned that he does have 2 finishes in his UFC run so far. One is 15 seconds, the other one is 16 seconds. Whenever you can take out a guy in mere seconds, it's impressive, right? And you know that he's in there to press the action. For you, a striker that, the striking style that you bring, how does that affect you mentally going into the fight?
Knowing that he's going to bring the pressure, not too much, man, because if you look at a lot of the guys I fought, even coming up through the regional ranks, a lot of guys were Matt. I think is the most refined version of that meta, that style, if you will. But I think he's also kind of cut from a similar cloth as a lot of those guys that bring the fight, guys that have to be on the front foot to be doing well, guys that throw big shots and are willing to plant and trade with you. I've seen that style a lot, and I'm not saying Matt's not the best. I'm not saying he doesn't have straight shots that are beautiful, as you can see with those 2 knockouts, as he said, but. I think I've seen something like him a lot. So in terms of how it affects me mentally, it's just business as usual, bro. Business as usual. Everybody come in there try and take my head off.
Let's jump back to Dana White's Contender Series. We spoke ahead of that, and you went in there last August and got a first round flying knee knockout. Was that the most spectacular finish of your career so far?
It's up there for sure. I had one, my 4th pro fight, where I got cut in the first round, I think, and then I came back in the 3rd round and threw a spinning heel kick and then wobbled the dude and then clocked him with a 1-2. And then, so yeah, it was, I think in terms of if you add the circumstances and everything, being that it was first fight of the Contender Series and all that, I think that was probably the most spectacular for sure.
When you walk out, right, and the way you're physically built, it doesn't really match. This is not like, this is a kind of like a compliment to you. It doesn't really match the style that you fight in. You know what I mean? Like they expect like a taller, leaner, longer guy compared to like what you bring. And it's really impressive how you have like created this style for yourself. Like when did that click for you? You thought that where you started to feel like this style is really working for me. When did you realize that?
Man, you're the first one that's ever noticed that, and that's something that I've really made a conscious effort on. So you got a good eye. But I noticed that whenever this is actually back before I was in Lafayette. There's an idea in martial arts, right, that you want to figure out where your weak points are, and this is an idea in war too, and figure out how to at least neutralize those weak points. And if you can build them into a strength, build them into a strength. So looking at that, I knew looking at my body style, I was going to be one of those guys that was a bruiser. I always had. I've lifted weights for a good bit of my life. I played football. I did a lot of other things. I realized that strength and power was what my body type was built for. And I was like, well, there's a lot of room left on the table for footwork and kind of dancing around. Because like you said, that's what longer, lankier guys do. I wanted to see if I could be that. I forgot. It's like the villain X-Men who combines all the traits of all the X-Men into some like super X-Men or something like that. I realized that I had weak points built into my body style, but I also had strong points. I just wanted to figure out if I could blend the weak points and turn them into a strong point. And for me, that was, footwork. That was figuring out how to be an analytical striker and pick people apart. That was figuring out how to fight long whenever you have a short frame. It was a lot of these different things. And yeah, that was something I figured out kind of early on. And that's something I still actively look to do. I lost 2 fights as an amateur. I basically, both of them were, due to groundwork and wrestling and jiu-jitsu and stuff. And now I feel that's a strong point. I'm a brown belt under Tim Crater now, and I feel like I can, hang on the ground with the best in the world.
I guess early on in your career, it deceived a lot of your opponents if they didn't watch film on you, probably when they stepped in and they're like, oh shit, like this dude, he's not coming like I thought he would.
Yeah, man, I give it a lot of different looks, and people call me a KO artist now, but if you look back at what was being said going into the fight, I was a submission artist. So it's I don't know, you never know, bro.
Exactly,
you never know.
Exactly. 6 months, man, between fights. Did you stay at home the whole time at your home gym and train, or did you travel around a little bit? What was the situation with that?
It was mostly here. I was gearing up for December just in case, the stars aligned and I'd be able to get on Dustin's card with Charles and stuff. But that ended up not happening. And yeah, I definitely didn't want a 6-month layoff, but I've basically just gone through 2 camps, just kind of back to back. Most of it was done here. I did get to go out to Houston and train with Trevin Giles and Alex Morono and a couple other guys. Matt Schnell was out there, Louisiana boy, and got to train with them a little bit. But for the most part, it's been back home. We had Dustin's back here a good bit now. Alan Joban's living down here now. Some real good guys down here. So it's been back home, but it's been great work.
How were those sessions over in Houston? Those are 2 great welterweights to go and test your skills against.
Yeah, dude, and Trevin's 85er coming down, and he's looking sharp as hell at 70. It was good, man, getting to feel, what guys who've been like in the UFC for a while wasn't. Yeah, exactly. Getting to feel that, their experience, their weight, how they spend their energy, when they push, when they let off, feeling all that. It's just, I'm not gonna lie and say I didn't take any ass whoopings or nothing, but that's what I want. Yeah. I wanted some valuable lessons like that, and I feel like I got those. And man, Trevin and Alex and all them down there at War in Houston are great guys, and hopefully I can go back and get some more work with them.
Yeah, those are 2 different styles too. It's not like both guys fight the same, which is great for you and gaining that experience. How long was the training camp for this March 12th fight?
Man, we've been rolling since January. I'd say it took New Year's to go back to the family and the holidays and stuff, but we've just been rolling ever since. And then after August we were gearing up for December, so just kind of back to back, good long camps. But
is that what you normally do? Is just kind of stay in camp? That's like the mentality you have with training?
Pretty much, dude. I don't do much else. I'm pretty boring. So I just go to the gym, and it's not like I'm going balls to the wall all that time. Like the intensity and stuff changes. The amount of certain things change when I'm close to a fight and when I'm not. But I like to be in the gym. I don't know what else, I'd be doing.
Yeah. You're always moving around. You're never stationary, pretty much.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So anything different about this camp compared to the other camps that you've done?
Say different. I guess just circumstance. Like I said, Dustin's, been back a little bit more. Alan's back. Got to go out with Trevin and them. It's all my camps are really kind of about, like, obviously I look at what my opponent does and what they're good at, but all of them are pretty much about me. I'm still really young, so I'm still in the phase where I'm, really still in some ways trying to find my style and acquiring new techniques and figuring out, different combinations of stuff. I've gotten to go to a couple seminars or Tim's brought some people in so I can learn from different places and stuff, but nothing out of the ordinary, really.
Training partners, you mentioned Dustin and Alan Joban, 2 Louisiana guys coming back and contributing to the next generation, which is great to see. But who are the other guys, man, that you're grinding with? Because there's a picture of like 10 of you or 7 of you or how many, but there's some faces there that are probably like you maybe 2 years ago.
I guarantee it, bro. There's so many. Y'all just don't know them, dude. Rylan is, I think he's about to have his last amateur fight, Rylan Melanson. He's an amateur. He is on a tear, bro. He figured something out over the past year and a half. He's been killing it with the work, and he is developing into a very complete young fighter. We've got, let's see, Damon Vincent. He just had I think he's coming off his 2nd pro fight. He's getting ready to go for his 3rd. Killer wrestling. Striking is beautiful the way he blends it in. Tyrek Malvo is getting ready to fight a UFC vet. I can't remember. Oh, man. It was the guy Bryce Mitchell put in a twister. He's getting ready to fight him. I can't remember.
Charles Rosa?
Maybe.
No, that wasn't Charles Rosa.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember him either.
Anyway, Tyrick
Yeah.
Malvo, I think he was a 3 or 4 time state champ in wrestling down here. The dude's got hands like vice grips. Even he's a 45er. Me at 70, when he gets a hold of me, bro, like there's no way on earth you should be that strong. Tyrick's coming in hot, dude. We've got a bunch of young amateurs. Justin Longoria is 5-0. Dude, there's so many. I'm leaving off so many names, and I feel bad, but just know that there's a new wave about to hit this whole scene, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of hidden talent down here.
That's great to hear, man. And yeah, and you get to take that next step, to show the other guys that, a couple more fights, you guys could be joining me in the UFC. When you look back at, training with like Dustin and Allen, these guys are veterans of the sport, like longtime veterans. I mean, they've been in the game for so long and at the top of the game. Well, training is training, but what else do they kind of bring to you? Is it like little conversations, words of encouragement? Like, what do they bring to you that's like really intangible?
That, dude, just the little bits, the little pieces, that the little like side conversations where like I'll be like wondering about a question in my head for like 2 months, and then they say something and it just seems so simple. Whether that's a technique, whether that's certain things to look out for mindset wise in this game, like as you progress up the ladder, certain ways to handle things, just seeing their mindset, their work ethic, how they carry themselves in general. A lot of that rubs off on you, and man, I'm super grateful that they're around and that they're taking the time to really kind of, help me through this camp. And yeah, man, I can't really put it into words, like having a roadmap there almost in some ways. Obviously, everybody's path is different, but to have somebody to say and showing you landmarks, right? Like, hey, check this out whenever you go. Whatever way you get there is all cool, but check out this or check that out, or you know what I mean? Like you can't put words into it.
Yeah, yeah, the guidance is incredible. So, how do you want to introduce yourself to the UFC fans? How do you expect to perform in your debut?
Man, I'm feeling sharp. I'm firing on all cylinders right now. Like I said, I've had 2 back-to-back camps. If there's one thing I could tell them to expect, it's just brilliance. I don't know. I go out there and I put on beautiful performances all the way across the map. I bring the fight. If you're training down here under Tim Crater, if you're getting this style, you're coming forward. You're coming for a fight. You're not scared of a gun battle, and you're throwing hands. But you're also a complete fighter. You understand that there's ways to open up certain things, and there's different ways to attack, different measures to attack, and just it's intelligent, brilliant violence. That's just, if I can sum it up in 3 words, it's that. So just have fun with that.
For sure, for sure. A couple more, men, before I let you go. Outside of the fight, UFC, not UFC, but just MMA fans, man, in general. There, some of them are really, really good at being fans, and some of them are not so good at being fans. What do you think MMA fans obsess about too much that fighters really don't care about?
For me, probably, I mean, the UFC rankings have some relevance now just in terms of how they do matchups, but I'd say rankings, especially when you've got like a guy on a tear versus a guy who's like in there already, I guess. I would say rankings is one. I would say, oh, I'm gonna love saying this one. I would say what's on paper as well. Whenever you like, bro, you have no idea how much stock people put into how long somebody's arms are in a fight. It's so crazy, dude. It's so nuts. It's like, bro, if I figure out how to get this close to you, realize I got feet, right? We're not rock'em sock'em robots. We got feet, dog. That's another one. And the reason I say that one is because I saw that whole thing happen in football, and it was just hilarious watching these guys get scholarships that could not tie their shoes, bro, but they could run in a straight line and they could jump in the air. Dude, come on, man. Just let them play the game. But I think those are two. I'll leave it at that.
PTSD in combat sports, not CTE, but PTSD from like injuries or weight cuts or damage, even taken in a fight, maybe even a tough loss. Have you experienced this in the past and overcome it, or have you seen it around anybody, with you, in your vicinity?
I wouldn't say from a loss, because I never, you can tell when somebody's will breaks in a fight, right? I've been put in some serious situations with some serious injuries and stuff, and had that conversation in my head and say, no, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to go right back into the fire. I'm not going to cower or look for a way out. So I don't really have it from losses or nothing that much, bro. I did have a bad weight cut, though, one of my last times at 55. It was not fun. I could feel my heart the day of the fight, like have something, just not sitting right, just quite. And I turned yellow at weigh-ins, like, which supposedly, allegedly, is a sign of, your kidneys not doing so hot. My ears on that weight cut, it sounded like I was underwater, and my voice like changed real weird. I still don't know what that is. Yeah, those are not fun. But I've delved into. I have a degree in biology, so I've been able to. I'm not going to say I'm the smartest when it comes to this, but I've been able to sort through some of the bullshit in terms of weight cutting, and I listen to people who are educated on it, people from the PI who put stuff out, people who Lockhart and Leith and all them. I see what they're doing. So we've changed that now, and we're not at 55. So, but yeah, if I had to say one thing about PTSD, that would be it. Weight cut for sure.
And how long did that last with you? Kind of that weight cut.
The hard stuff and all that pretty much subsided like before the fight. After I did have like some, man, make me go down a rabbit hole. But I had some. I think I had like fluid. I never went to the doctor or nothing for this, but I think I had like some fluid in my lungs a little bit, like from supposedly your heart can pump too fast for your lungs to handle it in like an athletic situation. And I had some crackling and stuff going on for a couple of days, but that's about it.
All right. One last thing. Crypto. Kevin Lee, he signed with Eagle FC, and now he's going to be paid in crypto, his fight purse. What are your thoughts on cryptocurrency, and would you ever consider being paid in crypto?
For sure. If you look at the inflation rates that they've chosen to show, they are not too hot, and it doesn't look like they're slowing down anymore. There's some stat that like 40% of all the money in circulation in the U.S. was printed like in the last 2 years. I think if you just look at that and you just put your little thinking cap on, you're like, I don't think it's that good. And then you go down the rabbit hole and you're like, oh, wait, it's not tied to gold anymore. When did that stop? Oh, 1970. Oh, shit's been going up to, oh, wow, okay. All right. Well, what makes it like that? Well, the fact that anybody with a little money gun can just go to the Fed and print more if they want. And then where does it go? It's supposed to trickle down, right? But what they don't tell you is it gets stored up at the top. They buy it, they put it into assets, right? So it never actually trickles down to the bottom. Anyway, that's a whole different rabbit hole. Crypto, I think there's a lot, just like anything that's a new technology that kind of gets started up, like the .com boom and all that, you're going to see a lot of fakes, a lot of scams, a lot of people looking for money, a lot of pump and dumps, a lot of these little grabs. But there are legitimate companies out there, and there are legitimate stores of value that cannot be touched out there. Bitcoin, I think, is the gold standard. Ethereum's slowly looking to become what it looks like, going to be like, how would I describe it? If Bitcoin's gold, Ethereum is cash, and then they're making out a layer 2 solution that looks like it's going to be like credit card payments, if you will, small microtransactions and stuff. So I'm huge on it. I think it's the future, and I think, I don't like the way the dollar's going. So, yeah.
Well, I think the UFC should probably work something out with crypto.com, right? Since it's a sponsor of the UFC, you have it on your jerseys right in the front, right? The lion. So maybe, there's something to it. Maybe in the future, the UFC is going to have that option for fighters. But your next fight, that option's not there, man. March 12th, UFC Fight Night, your promotional debut. AJ,
what is there?
Yeah,
these things are there, baby. Bam!
Those mitts, right? Hey, appreciate you, man. I'm excited to see you finally get your chance in the octagon, man. And good luck on the fight and the rest of the camp.